Hello, everyone in podcast land. I'm David.
And I'm Jono.
And this is the podcast where I swing from the rafters and I also move through dimensions and kiss myself. It's the Let's Wing It podcast.
It's not dimensions, it's time.
I mean, there's different dimensions because there's all the different Lokis.
Oh, there's that. Oh, you talking about that? I thought we're talking about Back to the Future because that's what we're talking about too.
We are also talking about that.
Well, he didn't kiss himself. He kissed his mom.
We got a show for you. We got a treat for you. We're going to be talking about my impression. Well, no, I'm going to give you my full review of Spider-Man 2. I beat that shit in 2 days. We're going to be giving you Jono's impression of the first little bit of Loki Season 2, as well as his experience watching Equalizer 3, the Back to the Future musical, which actually I'm kind of very curious to hear about, and, you know, kind of reviewing our review of Mission Impossible 7, reviewing.
Just a couple notes on that because I watched it again with my dad and I was like, I have some thoughts now. I have additional recap thoughts because that movie is being delayed. The sequel or this part 2 is delayed until 2025, I believe.
Okay.
So
I don't feel like I really liked it, but I'm not like dying to see the part 2. It's not like Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse where I'm like, fuck, show me the next one.
Well, here's the thing. Spoiler alert. Ethan Hunt is going to kill the end of the, like, it's going to happen, but it's going to be a kind of a fantastic way because it'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to pull a No Time to Die and the Mission Impossible franchise with Tom Cruise.
You just said that, and I'm like, man, I want to watch that movie again because that was sick.
It had some absolutely phenomenal parts, just like I have some absolutely phenomenal skills in segueing to our sponsor, Beacon Mike.
The number one reason a listener or viewer will turn off a new podcast or video is because of bad audio. That's why this podcast is powered by Beacon Mike. All the features you need are built right into the mic, which makes connecting easy via the best connection standard, USB-C.
Woo, one cable.
You have a really good mic, USB-C connects to the computer, and it just makes it super easy. Just like this new segue, gives you the best broadcast quality audio without a steep learning curve and saves you a ton of money from having to buy a bunch of extra gear. So, and that being said, even though I have all the software to make it sound really good, it sounds great right out of the box because I have not touched a thing because I don't know curves, but you can do it and it's super easy.
Hell yeah.
So the one big thing is that it is PC primarily, but there is going to be a Mac OS version, which that's what I used to run. So check it out soon. At least email support@beacon.com if you really want it, because they'll probably give you the beta version. Cool. So, but anyways, if you want one of these mics or all the little cool doodads to sell, use the code WING in the checkout and get $20 off. Or you just use the, our link in the video description or anywhere in the Spotify broadcast is beacon.com/discount/wing, because super easy, looks great. We got the black ones. There was a white one.
I do actually have a white one as well, but
yeah. Oh, how many do you have?
I have everyone.
Actually, wait. To be honest, I did get a second one, and Jillian has it when she does her meeting. So, yeah. But anyways, thanks, Beacon.
Thanks, Beacon.
Yeah. But anyways, here's the question I have for you. Right. So you're familiar with the Star Trek universe.
Yes.
Everything's really clean. Everything's really awesome. Asterisks on that. But let's just say we in this era right now in the real world discovered, travel in space relatively easily. So it's like going to the moon is like they're taking a flight. That's what it is. Or you can go anywhere. You can go to Mercury, to the sun. It's just that easy. 4 or 5 hours, boom, you're there. Do you think we would just totally abandon our efforts for recycling if that happened?
No, because, not only is it impractical to ship all our garbage into space, I think it's irresponsible. And I think that part of the market of recycling and, green energy isn't necessarily always logical, but it's the sense that people are participating in something good. And I think that's part of the narrative that people buy is oh, I'm helping. It's the same with EVs. I think EVs do help, and they're a part of, a multi-faceted solution to combating climate change, and we need to fucking fight climate change. That's not up for debate. We need to fight climate change. But I think that part of the narrative is this idea that you are doing a good thing. You are totally a hero. You're a good person. And so I think that market would not go away, even if we had the ability to offshore our garbage. And I think that people would still participate.
That's what I'm hinting at, right? It's like, if you could easily go to the sun and just toss your garbage in there, right? Would you? Because you can also get new materials from other planets, the moon, whatever planets there are. They harvest it like Mass Effect, just like shoot a little beacon, get like all the iron or cobalt or whatever. I feel like there would be like such a weird kind of separation, because I was thinking about this when I was recycling, because I do agree 100% that I would I recycle as much as possible, especially in New Jersey, because it's not really promoted that much.
Okay.
Which is kind of lame, because back in Vancouver, you would get recycling, garbage, and compost. There's no compost here, which is kind of a bummer.
There's a lot of places there's no compost yet, which is a bummer.
But we would always have like half a bag of garbage, and it would be like the recycling bin is what screwed up.
Us too.
Yeah. So, but I'm just thinking, it's like, if we could get all that stuff, like just single-use plastics, like the amount of people who complain about no single-use plastic bags is crazy.
Just get over it. Just fucking bring a bag with you. It's not that fucking hard.
Yeah, I went to like the local grocery store here.
Yep.
And I saw, shit you not, 3 people in the line find out that there was no plastic bags in front of me. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of like, it was a chain effect. Like, because I was in a line of 4. What? It was like, boom, boom, boom. And this, I'm like, am I the only like knowledgeable person to go, I have 3 reusable bags.
Yeah.
And I actually offered one to the old lady.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's nice.
Do you want this? Because you get them so easily. And they're like only like 25 cents.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a perfect solution, because I know that producing the reusable bags, especially the certain kind, can be damaging in its own way to the environment. But I think that the idea that people are like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe I have to bring my own bags. Yeah. It's like, it takes like 2 trips. You'll forget twice. And on that 3rd trip, you'll remember. And it's not that fucking hard. Just get over it. Like, I don't care. I don't care anymore about these people.
But just back to the original point, I have a feeling that people will still do it, but it won't be at the same level, because people will just be like, oh, I mean, I'm not too sure about oil, but they can find minerals and things and everything just to do it. And there'll be, unfortunately, planets just filled with garbage, because people will always want to find the cheapest and fastest solution to their problems, even though it has bad repercussions in the future.
Well, and I think people are unable to see past themselves. So unless they feel the threat of their consequences upon their doorstep, they don't really change. And I think like you can see that by how much of, how crappy even North America is at recycling, because we have, lots of garbage here, but a lot of our garbage that's like, thrown into the ocean doesn't stay here. It goes elsewhere. And so it's not our problem anymore. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We're doing our part. And so I think like, you're right. People would probably, be like, oh, well, planet Earth is clean. We're not worrying about, our garbage here.
Yeah, they don't. That's why I was just wanted to have that conversation, because going back to the Star Trek part, because they had replicator technology, everything's really clean. You don't really see garbage at all. It's just kind of like I think it's because
they got rid of single-use plastics, and I know that that's something that is mostly on the agenda for the planet Earth, where we could stop doing it, but there's a whole lobby that exists to defend plastics. Like, there's a plastics lobby that's like gonna fight tooth and nail for every step we take to reclaiming our independence from plastic, and that fucking sucks.
Because like big oil.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's all oil. It's all petroleum product. And it's a shame because I know even in Vancouver, there's like 3 or 4 stores that are, soap cleaning products, other things, but they don't sell packaging. Like it's all, you just have to bring your reusable bottles or things, and you can buy these products from them and food from them, but you have to just bring reusable containers. And so you get used to that, and that's what it should be. I don't need to fucking buy a new spray bottle every time I'm getting glass cleaner. Like I don't need
actually there's one thing is that my soap dispensers I bought, they were cheap and they already broke. I'm like in the bathroom going, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, and I just kept doing it. I'm like, I better stop, because one thing, it sounds really weird and it's really loud. And I'm feeling that if I did it any longer, Julian's like, are you just jerking off in the bathroom? No, I'm just trying to get soap, trying to get a different kind of goo.
You walk in and it like explodes all over you, and you're like, I swear it's not what it looks like.
It is white too, so that's
exactly. But yeah, even the idea of things that don't last. We have this planned obsolescence. We recognize that in tech, but like you said, this shitty soap dispenser, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, it would have had to been made to last or be replaceable or repairable. And I think that's a shame that we're so used to the convenience of things that are designed to break, that it would be hard to wean ourselves off of it, but we create so much fucking garbage that we don't need.
So much Temu.
Yeah, fuck you, Temu and Wish and yeah,
I say that, but Jillian just bought something from Temu. And
really, I've never bought anything from Wish or Temu, but
I have not. But it's the bad companies. But anyways, that's my question.
Spider-Man 2.
But actually, viewers, listeners, whatever, if you have your take on it, feel free. Write 2 paragraphs. I actually read all of your comments, and they're actually pretty good. Yeah. Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, okay. If you guys are not up to date, Insomniac released the sequel to the hit 2018 Spider-Man for the PS4. I think it's called Marvel's Spider-Man. The Spider-Man? Who knows? There was the DLC, the Miles Morales in 2020. That was kind of a launch game for the PS5. But this is like the first real sequel. And my review is, it's like 30 hours, and I beat it in 2 days. I could not stop playing. It was so fucking awesome. I started playing, and I didn't stop. I went through the night, and I just like went to work the next day and came home, and I kept playing. So if you've played the previous ones,
why you didn't answer any of my text messages?
Probably.
That was my like one period. I'm like, hello? All right.
Probably. But the game is very similar in terms of what it does on the surface to the previous 2 games. You're swinging around New York, you have missions, you have side quests that you're kind of collecting stuff, but also these little stories that you're doing Spider-Man stuff. I preferred the Miles Morales game to the 2018 one. I thought Miles Morales was much tighter, and they kind of got rid of some of the open world shit that bored me. And this game, I think, strikes the perfect balance. It's to its fault, slightly short. 30 hours for like a big open world game now feels kind of short, but there was no period when I was playing that I was like, I guess I'm just gonna like put on an episode of TV and like go collect all the backpacks or like go take all the photos.
So they did not do the Ubisoft method of just trying to extend the gameplay.
Yeah, so there is lots of stuff to do. I mean, like 30 hours is still like a decent amount of a game. Like you compare that to, an Uncharted game or Resident Evil 4, but compared to, Starfield or Cyberpunk or whatever, it's a lot less. Yeah. But what I found was I was so invested into everything I was doing. The swinging is hugely improved. If you haven't seen, the biggest upgrade, other than like a little refinements, is you have web wings now, so you can glide.
Oh, I mean, that was part of his original Spider-Man power, I believe.
Not in the original game, no.
No, not original game. Like original, just Spider-Man in general.
That wouldn't surprise me. But in the games, it's a new thing, and so they've like doubled the size of New York, which scared me at first because I was like, I don't want to like just swing across New York.
Yeah, because it used to be just Manhattan.
Yeah,
and now
there's Brooklyn and Queens.
Brooklyn, Queens. So that's effectively, I would actually say it's like 3 times big, because Brooklyn and Queens are like, I mean, me being here, I kind of now know the scale of New York now.
Fair.
And Midtown is really big, but it's more vertical. But Brooklyn and Queens is more spread out, which makes sense because everyone lived in Brooklyn and Queens and they worked in Manhattan. Oh, yeah.
And what's nice too about having this wider space and the ability to glide is they don't have to pack everything as densely. Like the previous map, which was shared between 2018 and Miles Morales, everything you had to be able to swing off everything, and there could be no places where you couldn't swing. And even when you get to the edge by the water, it was really frustrating because sometimes you would just like fall into the water because there's nothing to swing from. But now there's like the momentum never stops. Like if you don't want to, you can just like rip around. And even like if you fuck up and you get close to the water, instead of falling into the water and then needing to jump and zip and launch, you just press X and like you start sliding on the water and then you launch off it. And so
that sounds so sick.
The traversal is improved, and I didn't think they would be able to do it, but it's quite improved, and it's thrilling just ripping around the city. It looks so good on PS5. There's ray tracing on every performance level. I played at the 40 hertz mode so like that's fidelity but unlocked or whatever. It looks awesome. The character models look good, especially in suits. I find faces, Insomniac hasn't quite nailed faces. They're like really good in screenshots, but the way they move isn't quite right. But the story is awesome. It's definitely the best story of the three games.
Yeah.
It's about, Harry and Peter and Mary Jane and stuff, and they just
Eddie Brock's in it too, right?
No.
He's not?
Nope.
Wait, who?
Nope.
Who? But
well, you'll have to play the game to find out who's the Venom.
Oh yeah.
No,
I kind of know.
I can do mild spoilers. I'll do mild spoilers for Spider-Man 2 starting now.
Wait, actually, wait. Here, the one thing I don't mind spoilers because I'm still gonna play it.
Yeah,
I don't care. I heard from the developer is that because Mary Jane's in it. I mean, this is part of spoilers. But she's playable. But she feels super overpowered because she's doing the stealth missions. But the developer who's like, yeah, we heard the feedback, but I don't give a shit. It's like
I was a little bit worried because you're right. There is Mary Jane missions where you're just walking around, and there's like missions as other Spider-Man where you're out of your costume and you're just walking around. But the Mary Jane stuff is so much better than the first game. The first game was so fucking annoying every time you were stuck as Mary Jane because it was like basically you had like a line you could go on and you just had to wait for your like path to clear down that line. And maybe, that line splits into two at one point, but it was so linear and like it was, dragging you through by the scruff of the neck. It was not fun, but there's less time spent as Mary Jane, or at least it felt like it. And it felt like an actually developed game mode. And so you're given options. You're kind of given like, it's still fairly linear. Like, it's like a little hub that you're kind of going around killing people or knocking people out in. Yeah. But it felt like I had agency as a player to take it how I wanted. And it was well balanced where it was challenging that to like hide and be like, oh shit, they can see me. But then at the right moments, I was like, all right, I can get that guy. Oh, perfect. Oh, that guy doesn't see me. Okay, yeah, I can go get that guy. Okay, nice. Cool. So I had a good time as Mary Jane this time, whereas in the first game, that was by far the weakest part. Yeah. So that was good. You get to play as both Spider-Man in this one. You get to play as Miles and Peter. I like Miles' power set better. So in the Miles Morales game, he gets his Venom powers, which is his electricity powers. And to kind of balance that out, Peter has kind of like these tech abilities. He has the legs in this one that come out and do attacks.
Oh, he has the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah, but it's not really much in terms of story or anything. It's just for early game to have balance with Miles. Because if you've seen, so now we're going to go into like mild spoilers. I'm not going to do anything real.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of the promotional materials, or if you've seen, the PS5 that the game came out, the game, Venom is in it.
Oh, no way.
No way.
And in the first minute of the game, who that Harry Osborn is going to be Venom.
Really?
Yeah.
Harry?
Yeah. So the first scene of the game is him and his dad, because he's in the first game, he's there and he does like the science bases or whatever. And he's like, we want to make the world a better place. But he's sick and he went to Europe for like experimental treatment. But at the beginning of this game, you see him and his dad, and his dad's like, hey, like, are you ready for this, son, or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. And then he's in the tank with the symbiote, basically like for 2 years getting treatment or whatever.
That's actually really cool. Like, I mean, spoilers for the viewers. The Osborns are literally the goblins, or hobgoblins and the Green Goblin. But this one, it seems like Osborn, the older one, the dad, can still be the Green Goblin. But it seems like now they're taking a step further. That's making it kind of like, I'm trying to save my son and he has to have the symbiote. And now it's a drug.
Yeah. So Norman Osborn was a prominent part of the first one, but he was not a supervillain. He was just kind of mayor of New York, and he was a piece of shit, and he had stepped over a bunch of people that hated him. And like the villain of the game was someone that Norman Osborn had burnt. And so he had a vendetta against him. And even like, there's Doc Ock in the first game. And it's the same thing. Norman Osborn burns him, and so he goes after Norman Osborn. But he's not Green Goblin in the first one. And my spoilers, he's not the Green Goblin in this one either. He's that's just not his role in this.
He's just a dude.
At least not yet, maybe in a future game. But so Harry is, got the symbiote. And so you play some missions, and like Harry will show up in his version of the symbiote suit, and he helps you fight and stuff.
And you're like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah. And then if you know Spider-Man at all, the symbiote suit will go to Spider-Man at some point. And I mean, that's in that's in the gameplay demos too. So you get a new power set that you can play. You can alternate or choose whatever you want between the mechanical or the Iron Spider abilities and the Venom stuff. But the Venom stuff's way cooler. And so the combat is much better. They've kind of changed the way the skill trees work. I found I was less invested in the tech upgrades and the skill, but the gadgets that you get, I think, are more fun than at least the first game. It felt like they took a little bit of a step back on the stealth. In Miles Morales, I often found myself in the big arenas, really invested in taking out one dude at a time, making sure that I like got as many people out of the way as possible. But in this one, I would take out like 3-4 dudes, and I'm like, nah, fuck it. And I would just swing down and start fighting people.
Yeah.
And I think the combat is more fun and it's more snappy, but I think that speaks ill to the stealth of the game.
Yeah.
But the whole, as a conclusion, this game is fucking awesome. If you liked any of the Spider-Man games, it's markedly better. It's tight. It's very much quality over quantity, which I'm a huge fan of. I don't like open world games when it feels like they're just like pumping up the hour count to make you feel like you got your money's worth. I'll admit, I already said in this podcast, I did feel a little bit sad at the end of it that it was over. And I immediately went back into it, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I can't wait to play more. And I'm going to wait because they're doing a New Game Plus mode, and they said they're doing that before the end of the year. So I'll do that. I think I'm one trophy away from the platinum.
You almost platinum?
Yeah. I mean, in the 30 hours I played, it's a pretty easy platinum.
Yeah.
Like the two things that I had to work on were, one is activating your Venom powers when you do your Venom Surge 25 times or whatever. And I thought that you didn't need to do that. I misunderstood. So I just did it 0 times, or I did it like less than 10. And then one was using a specific stealth ability that I just didn't feel like using.
Yeah.
But if they did it, it's not like it didn't surpass my expectations overall. I'd say it met them, maybe slightly exceeded them. Like the traversal is better than I expected. The story is pretty much what I expected. The combat and stealth improvements were like just under what I had hoped for. But overall, it's definitely, I'm very fucking happy. Like it's like a solid 8.8, 8.9.
Probably 9. I probably would say it's probably 9. Like,
yeah.
I mean, here's the big thing in sequels. I mean, I guess they kind of had a little bit of practice with Miles Morales, because that was like Spider-Man 1.2, 1.5 ish, which I still need to finish. God damn it, I got to finish all these games.
Alan Wake 2, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, here's the big thing is that, like, as long as it met your expectations, that's probably a big win.
100%.
Yeah, because like, the sequels have always, like, the hardest thing is to meet the expectations. Like even like the sequel to the Spider-Verse, I thought that was good, but it just would never beat the first one. And it'll be super hard. The third one, it will probably beat the first one because it has all the characters from the first one. Yay. But yeah, like I think that's really good to hear. It's like it met your expectations. I I think I'm in the same kind of boat with you. Is that I also hate open world games when it doesn't make sense. So that's why I refuse to play any Ubisoft games again.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, like the only reason why I played the fifth one, the latest one, because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It looks really neat. It had a wiener dog with rockets. I was like, oh, that looks kind of fun. And
Wait,
then
which
when
game?
you get out,
Far Cry 5?
the latest Far Cry. That
6. I think is the Cuba or the
the Latin one, the Venezuelan one,
is it
whatever.
Venezuelan? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I think they
it's
made
like-
up a country.
Yeah,
they did
they
the
made up-
Ubisoft non-political political shit.
It's Venezuela. That's
Sure.
what it is. So I think after I got out of the island, I'm like, oh, I'm just bored. I just don't want to play this. It looked like too much of like a slog fest. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah,
But-
it's. Go ahead.
Oh
Or
yeah,
just-
yeah.
With open world stuff, I find it's a fine balance of giving you enough stuff and reasons to run around, and then
Yeah.
not overwhelm you where you're like, I could never do this. Ubisoft hasn't struck that balance for a long time for me. What I liked about this is that there's a nice amount of stuff that, when you get to the story point, it'll just like show you 8 icons on your map and you can rip around, just do that.
Yeah.
But there's also some stuff that you kind of just discover by swinging. Like there's a category of item that's just spider bots. It's kind of the replacement for the backpacks in the first game.
Yeah.
And you don't get them on your minimap ever. It's just when you're swinging, you'll see like a purple pulse go through the sky, and it's just like, boom. And then like, okay, there's a spider bot. And once you've seen a pulse, then it'll be on your minimap, so that if you don't feel like finding it right now, you can come back to it. But it encourages you just to explore and zip around and fly and find stuff. And I found that I did that. Like I didn't fast travel in the game at all. I only once I'd beaten the game and I was like, I'm going to clean up a couple little side things that I hadn't done. I was like, I'm just going to like go directly to that. But the entire game, I was just like, this is so fun just zipping around.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really fast traveled in the first one on Miles Morales. But yeah, that's good to hear. One thing I would want to hit, because you said that the stealth thing was a little bit weaker. That's the one thing, because this game emulated not a lot, but a decent amount. If Arkham Asylum never came out, this game would have never came out.
No, it's so clear. The combat is slightly different, but even this one. So yeah, the Batman, its big thing was, there's the dodge, but you're primarily parrying stuff, and that's like the big. And Spider-Man 1 didn't have a parry; it had a dodge. But this one has a parry and it has its dodge. And so it's like Batman, where as you get later into the game, some enemies will force you to dodge, some enemies will force you to parry, some will force you to like zip out of there like directly, because if you're anywhere close, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And so I thought overall the combat was better, but yeah, the stealth I thought was less engaging. And there was times where like so you do all like the small missions that unlock, like the final base that you have to go and assault for this side mission quest. Yeah. And you'd go there and there'd be like 70 dudes. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking clear 70 dudes. Okay. I'm going to like literally drop in the middle of this. Come at me. And it worked because I could role play and I would be Symbiote Spider. And like, that's what Symbiote Spider would do. He'd be like, you think I'm going to be quiet? No, I'm going to fucking kill all of you. It worked. But I felt a little bit sad that a stealth aspect that had worked in one franchise no longer was connecting with me.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, it's the one thing the one point I wanted to make was like the problem with Arkham, like the whole Arkham series, is that stealth is such a big component of the game. Like, being like, can you clear this whole area
without being seen?
Without getting seen. But it's like, it's kind of, I always find it weird because like you see like the cool cutscenes. Like, man, I still rave on like the Arkham CG like intros. They're so good.
So good.
Like make a movie. But
no longer not with those without you can't do it without those voice actors.
Yeah, sorry, man. What's his name?
Conroy.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy. But the biggest problem I think find with the Batman games is like those like weird kind of balance, because like you see all the cutscenes and you're like fighting all these guys, but in the gameplay it's like, nope, try to be stealth, man, or you fucked up, or you're not good enough. This one at least gives you the ability going, I would like to do stealth, I will do stealth, but I don't like being forced to do stealth. And that was kind of like my biggest problem, even for a little bit with like the Uncharted series. I always felt like I kind of screwed up when I just started beating the crap out of people. But I mean, that's good. I think that's one thing I will play. I probably will just like not do stealth as much or at all with a Spider-Man because I just needed like burst through the game.
Yeah, and I played it on the amazing difficulty, whatever the default mode is. So I think there's 2 under and 2 higher. And it was pretty easy. Like I probably, when I play it again on New Game Plus, I'll probably jump up maybe 2 difficulties. And credit to Insomniac, at the beginning of the game, you get just the 5 options, but when you go into the menu after, you can change the difficulty based on category. So you can be like, I want my health to be, easy to hard, or I want enemy health to be easy to hard. And I want stealth to be easy to hard. So you can kind of like customize how you want to play. Like I like my Spider-Man to be really squishy. Like when I turn it on, when I'm going to play it again, I'm going to make it that like at the fewest amount of punches kills me because I want my Spider-Man to have to be perfect, and that's realistic. Spider-Man's like resilient, but he's not, a tank. He can't take a bunch of punches, but I don't want to have to fucking punch some random dude 13 times to knock him out. That's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man punches you once, you're fucking knocked out, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah. Unless everyone's a super villain, which is
and like there's characters where that's not the case. And same with stealth. Like I probably will keep that on normal, maybe even make it easier so I'm more incentivized to it, but I'm not sure. But overall, it's great. And I can't wait for them to do more, and the Wolverine game, which will be very interesting.
Let's go!
Because this one, I think its greatest strength is its traversal in the open world. I think out of everything that it does, it's the sense you get of being Spider-Man just ripping around New York is probably its greatest strength, and I think it's going to be like that's not what Wolverine is. Wolverine's not a hyper like rip around kind of dude. Like he doesn't fly. He can jump high, I guess, but not like Hulk high. And so I'm imagining it's going to be more level based, but maybe not. Maybe he's going to rip around on his motorcycle, but I'm hoping that the combat is a little heavier. I hope there's gore. I need Insomniac to do a good job.
Wait, is Wolverine going to look like Hugh Jackman?
I doubt it. I'm thinking it'll be a video game specific one. I
really hope so. I just like Google it. I'm like, oh yeah, Wolverine. What's that look like? And the first image is like Hugh Jackman. I'm like, no, that'd be a bad choice.
So far, the only thing we know is that teaser trailer, and we didn't even see his face. I think we just saw his claws.
Yeah, I have a feeling that will be there'll be a lot of stealth in that because he'll probably be in the woods because he looks like he's in the back countries, which is that's how he is discovered as a Wolverine. Is that he is in the countryside and hunting and all that stuff. So I feel like that's going to be a more woods-based game, which makes sense, but he can climb trees. He can't swing, but he's going to be really agile. Like Wolverine, his mutant power is actually not his skeletons, not his claws. It's his ability to regenerate. And him being mobile, agile fighter and all that stuff is just natural skills, which is, he's kind of like, when you think about Wolverine's kind of like, I mean, I guess he's like portrayed that in the movies and games. He's just like a little like ball of like, he just comes at you, you're fucked. You're just a
little ball of fury. And I mean, the comic version is a short, stocky dude. The movie one sort of changed our perspective. It's, tall Hugh Jackman.
I mean, though they were saying Daniel Radcliffe should be Wolverine, which I saw a short and I was like, yeah, you know what? That would be sick. No, let's just watch. There's a short he does a film movie of him like ripping off all his clothes and he's in underwear and you're like, damn, that guy's jacked. Like you could be Wolverine. He does have the look. I can just see David. He's just like trying to like find it right now.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has
Daniel Radcliffe Wolverine. And I think, yeah, there was like one image. Yeah, just go.
I saw the image.
Yeah,
he's jacked, but like that, it's never an issue of could he get jacked. Like he's a multi-millionaire actor. Like he could always get jacked. It's more that like
he's short, stocky, and he kind of could have the look.
But I think people get. I'm a big enemy of casting based on looks. I think it's a nice bonus, but I'm way more interested in do you have the essence of Wolverine? And Daniel Radcliffe does not have the essence of the Wolverine, at least not like the Wolverine that I read in the comics. He's got to be so much more bitter and angry. And Daniel Radcliffe, he can act, like if you told me that, hey, X-Men 17 is coming out tomorrow and Daniel Radcliffe is the Wolverine, I'd be like, okay, I'll check it out. I'll see it. But he doesn't have like the fury and the resentment of someone who's been who hasn't been allowed to die for 200 years, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here, how about this? Taron Egerton.
Nah.
Really?
He's too pretty. He's again like maybe more, but like I want it to be someone I've never heard of before. That's like literally covered in hair.
Fair. So you want like a real Canadian?
Yeah, and I want them to like the first photo of them I see. They have their unibrow still, and like they got to be like kind of ugly.
So he has to be like a Northern Ontarian.
Yeah, just like they gotta be like a wild animal.
A wild animal. That's fair. So I mean, viewers, listeners, tweet. Just tell us who you think should be the next Wolverine, because that I'd be quite interested. Because to me, I thought Daniel Radcliffe could be good. I thought Taron Egerton would be good, but. Yeah, I mean, so Jess, I want to see if Dave would be like, yeah, I approve.
And like, I'm not suggesting any solutions. I'm not helping anyone. So I agree. I want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, obviously. So, but anyways, moving from that,
yes,
I would like to talk about a wonderful musical I saw.
Sure.
Back to the Future, the musical. Which when I first, it was Brandon Havard at work. He pitched me the musical, because he saw it in the UK. And he's like, Jono.
Because it's been running in the UK since like 2012, right?
Yeah, it's been for a while. Yep. And he's like, Jono, you need to see Back to the Future. I'm like, really? Because honestly, it felt like a money grab. It's like how Disney's doing like The Lion King.
Or like Shrek the Musical.
Yeah, so it felt very like, oh, they're just trying to get the money. Because here's the thing too. This is what kind of surprised me. Well, it didn't really surprise me, but it still kind of hurts, is that musicals are a lot of money. It's not like a movie ticket. It's not $10 or $20. But if you find tickets at $10 or $20, it's like the worst seats you can ever get.
You'll have like a post right in front of you, literally. Like
something like that. Yeah. So like these tickets I got, we originally saw it was like $60. It was off to the side, but still in the orchestra, orchestra means just like the main kind of floor. But I was told, because it has 3D effects in it, be as center as you can. So I took a risk, which paid off perfectly. It was up at the mezzanine, so the top layer, the balcony layer, all the way to the back. So it was still $100 a ticket. I was hoping that there'd be like $80, but it was still $100 a ticket. Yeah. And the reason why we saw this too, because my dad was in town. And my dad, I was like, we're going to be in New York. He needs to see a musical.
Yeah.
It's cool. But, he's not going to go watch Wicked. He's not going to watch The Lion King.
Book of Mormon.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Book of Mormon's still playing. Or it might be off Broadway now.
Maybe.
But,
anyways.
But yeah. So, but my dad loves like kind of like movies and everything. So I was like, what's a good one is Back to the Future. So we booked tickets because he's just so familiar with them. He at least has watched Back to the Future like 10 times.
Wow.
So I don't have to explain anything to him. And honest to God, it was awesome. Like Sick. It was so good.
Awesome. Yeah.
They did have to change a couple scenes. Like it's not really a spoiler if you watch the movie.
We've watched the movie, I'm sure, yeah.
It's like, when they're fighting in the malt shop and he gets on the skateboard, he gets pulled around the car, and the manure hits Biff. That never happens in the movie. But what happens, he replaced that whole entire scene and put it in the school cafeteria. So
yeah, sure.
The manure gets replaced with spaghetti.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of like weird and silly, but it's that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So everything I like. Acting was great. Music was great. The effects were awesome. And it's just like everything felt like it was so well rehearsed. Mm-hmm. Nothing felt kind of like discombobulated, or it felt silly, but it didn't feel cringy.
Yep.
So I would say it's worthwhile to watch. Pay $100 to get it, and everything's good. All the key moments in the movies are really well done. And the one thing you have to remember, I'm not too sure if you ever seen an adaptation of same property from a movie to kind of like live action musical, theater, or a play.
I've
Is that
seen like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast.
I haven't seen those. I've seen those on ice, but I haven't seen those. Yeah, on ice is kind of lame.
I'm gonna see Mean Girls, the musical, in a few months because Zoe's in it.
Really? There's a musical?
Yeah, apparently it's really good too. Anyways, sorry, finish the thought.
Yeah. Anyways, I was like, what? I need to go see that. So like, it's kind of like an interesting kind of like feel and tone to it because it's everything's happening in front of you. It's not at 24 frames, so it feels really smooth. So I'm trying to think of this as like a movie perspective, but it's just like when they hit all the right notes and they respect all the right properties, it just felt so cohesive. Yeah. And the music was awesome. The songs are so good. I can't even like name all the songs, but like everything just like it just felt so good. I know I'm saying that multiple times. It's just that I'm thinking of like something negative to say about it. There's nothing really negative to say. The one thing I will say, which I think they tastefully did it right, is that in the first movie, I remember it was actually Palestinian terrorists shot the doc.
Oh yeah.
I was like watching it. I'm like, oh, what are they gonna do? He just dies from radiation poisoning. That's all it is, because his radiation suit was really bad.
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
It's definitely could not be Palestinian terrorists. That would not fly today.
I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm definitely not gonna say any more.
Say less, fam. It's. I think there's something special that happens with art when it is done, with people there, and I think it's great that movies exist, and they're able to pull the essence out of theater, and the symphony and visual arts, and give us this like refined version of it that can ship out into everywhere in the world. And I love movies. I'm not trying to be like, no movies. Movies are bad. Yeah. But there is something that is lost in translation. There's something about a play or a musical theater that is different. And there's like, an element of you being there and seeing the magic happen right in front of you that makes it so special. Like think of,
because there's no take twos. It's everything has to go on. Like if someone messes up, you're going to see it, but then you just kind of have to live with it.
Like think of watching YouTube videos of Cirque du Soleil versus going to Cirque du Soleil. Like I'm not going to ever fucking watch a Cirque du Soleil YouTube video, but
I will watch it behind the scenes of Cirque du Soleil.
Sure. But like watching someone do a trapeze trick on YouTube is like, cool.
Yep. Yeah. Because it's just like, they had like a lot of cool things. So the problem with maybe here's one thing. Here's the one biggest problem with the whole show is that they'll never go on tour. They cannot go on tour.
Too big of a production.
It's too big of a production, because how it kind of works is that this is what it kind of fascinated me, and this took me out of the show in a good way. It wasn't bad. Is because of the floor. The floor is it's all tracks and magnets. It looks like. Yeah. And those even parts where at the end, it's not really a spoiler. Whatever. The car lifts up and goes into like the crowd above everyone.
Cool.
And it's definitely obviously a robot, just moving it. But I was just like, there's no way you can take this to another town, town to town to town. You just cannot. So that's maybe the only bad thing. But I mean, it's so cool. It's like if you have like $100 that you just do not like, go watch it, because the singing is awesome. Roger Bart was really good in it. The guy who played it's like Marty McFly. I know it says Casey Lakes, but it was like understudy because I guess he was sick.
Oh, okay.
But like the whole experience of going to a theater is awesome. Like you go to the show. This one's right on Times Square. It's at the Winter Garden Theater. I've never seen a show right on Times Square, so that's one cool experience. But you go in there, you get the playbill, and you sit down. The seats are really uncomfortable, but you forget that really quickly, and it's just a magical moment.
Yeah, I went to a show on Broadway. The last one I went to Book of Mormon because I was there with Plouffe and Bell, and that was the only show I could convince them to go to. I was like, I want to see something I haven't seen, but I just want to go to something, and it's easier to go with people. And so we went to see it. And we got cheap seats on the aisle that had like the seat I had, which was the furthest right, was partially obstructed, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. I've seen it before. But yeah, it's so fun to go to the theater and like have it be a real event. And like when you think about it, $100 is a lot of money, but like it's so worth it. It's so worth it for like the magic that's happening there. And like
I'm sorry. I have the lack of words because it's so hard to describe. And it's actually one of the few times in my life I regret not doing more theater as a kid. And I was like, oh man, all these kids are having so much fun.
Mhm.
Like, well, they're not kids, they're adults.
Yeah.
But it's like it just made it gave me that spark. I wish I could like bring my nieces and nephews to watch this. I will pay $1,000 to have all of them watch things like this because I want them to like, it's something getting them out of the shell experience that I think they will enjoy and kind of take heart to it. Because I think this is something that everyone needs in their life growing up, coming to age. Because if you don't, unfortunately, I'm being kind of preachy here, from someone who doesn't have kids, but I kind of see the results, is if you don't push them to get out of the shell, they become very different as adults. And this is one of those things that I wish I was pushed a little bit more. My family was not very into theater or movies or arts, kind of like piano, the traditional Asian route. But it's like, I wish I did this because my life could be very different because I would be like, I would have enjoyed all of this. Yeah. Like maybe not as an actor, but I could probably be like the showrunner, producer, or something in the background that makes me feel like, yeah, we're part of a team. Because that's the one thing is that everyone there is part of the show, even from the ushers too.
Yep.
The ushers there were, holy crap, they were on top of everything. I think I was like checking my Apple Watch a little bit. I was like, because it just kept ringing. I was trying to silence it, but she came up to me and looked at me and just making sure I wasn't recording anything.
Yeah.
Like, but then Jillian told me after the show, she's like, did you see what happened? I'm like, no. Like, oh, 2 people got kicked out because they were recording with the cameras. I was like, holy shit. Like, that is nuts. Like, who does that? Like, why would you?
So many people, I bet. So many people.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, it's just like, it's that experience that if you go to New York, let me know. I will recommend you what shows to watch.
Yep.
And this is definitely one of the top 3 shows I would say go check
I'm
out.
very curious. I'm a big fan of like multimedia theater shows where they have like the really incredible production values. Yeah. And it sounds like an easy watch because it's such a great little story.
When you come to New York, I will gladly, here's the thing. I will gladly go watch this again. Or I'll go watch Wicked again. I don't care.
Yeah,
I've watched 3. I've watched Wicked, this, and I watched Book of Mormon. And I would say Book of Mormon's good. I would say this is better. Sure. Wicked is still the best.
Sure. Yeah. And it's Broadway is so fun, and it's like fun making an evening of it, and you kind of just walk around. And it's I was surprised. It's by the sound of it, it sounded like it would be one of the more expensive musicals, but it hasn't cracked the top because I don't know if you've ever heard much about the Spider-Man musical that never actually.
Oh, I think it had a couple weeks that they did.
They did test weeks, I believe.
Because I think someone died. But I think apparently someone had recorded the whole show and uploaded to YouTube, which I guess I'm not trying to take it down because it doesn't exist. It's not very good quality, but I mean, you get the idea. But yeah, the people died. People got injured all the time.
Yeah, it was the most dangerous.
I mean, back as a kid, hearing when that came out and was developed, I was like, I don't get it. But now I'm like, oh, I see why they tried to take that risk. Like, I can see the financiers going, yeah, let's try it. Let's try to be the Wicked.
Well, because even like, so it's still the most expensive musical ever put on, and it was $75 million, which that's a lot of fucking money. But you compare that to, movies where $75 million, that's like, it's like a big director doing their small movie. Like that's, whereas, the Dunes and the Marvels and all that, it's like $200-300 million. And so, I don't know how marketing goes into that either, but
I mean, because the biggest thing is that they can charge more per ticket because of the fact that probably 80% of the people watching this are going to be tourists.
Mhm.
And it was very true because oh man, I feel so bad. Definitely, like every time I see someone, I did this. Like you take a photo, and I remember seeing someone take a photo and going, "Wow, this is such a good photo," and just put it away. I put it on Instagram stories because it's just like taking photos of fireworks. It's
Sure.
like you're never gonna look at this going, "I saw Back to the Future." See,
No.
like it's just no one's gonna do that. But you can see everyone there as a tourist because I remember just like looking over, everyone's like, "Yeah, so we're gonna do all these 20 things after the show." But people forget that the show ends around midnight.
Yeah, and you're gonna be so tired.
So you're gonna be so tired. And even for me, like I live in New Jersey, it still took me like 2 hours to get back home. So when my dad, myself, and Jillian got home, it was like 2 a.m.
What took so long?
And just because I have to like go from Times Square. I parked at the office. So I have to take a train to the office and take an Uber there and then drive home.
Jesus
It's like
Christ.
a 40-minute drive home.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna stay in the city because
No.
staying in the city is stupid.
It's so expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm rambling and I don't have cohesive thoughts because when you go watch a show, you're just like wow and amazed. The one thing I will say is that the person who played George McFly nailed George McFly.
Yeah.
Like even like the laugh going like all those kind of things. Him in the tree, falling out of the tree, and just all those actions. It was just like perfect. And it's just, oh my God. Oh, I thought the person who played George McFly did a better job than the person playing Marty and even Doc Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. That's good.
go watch
good
it.
to know. I definitely will. The next time I'm in New York, I will have that at the top of my list.
Yeah.
You know what else is at the top of my list, but I still haven't started, but I know you have Loki season 2.
Season 2. So
Before you get into it, what did you think of season 1?
Loki season 1,
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a well cohesive story that showed Loki as a deeper character
Mhm.
than all the other Marvel movies combined into one season. Like I would say all the movies, like Thor 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, plus all the Avenger shit that happened. Loki's character wasn't very well defined. He was just like bad boy, dad, mom issues, and eventually I've turned like a good guy in number 3. That's it. Loki is so much more complex than Loki.
Mm.
Like it just like showed him how he felt, how he treated, and he needed to actually look at himself to know who he actually is.
Yeah.
And I think Sylvie, Loki's female version, was such a funny aspect. It was kind of weird that they are kind of like in a relationship, but also when you think about it,
It's perfect.
the only person that can love Loki is Loki.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, the
what
only
do you
person
think?
Loki can love is Loki. Like,
Yeah.
he's so narcissistic that like it had to be him.
Yeah.
I really like season 1 as well. I think I liked the concept of WandaVision more. And I think when it
Mhm.
peaked, WandaVision was the better show, but WandaVision had way more filler and it had a way worse ending. Loki was like the one MCU show that was consistent and I think ended on a high. I think like the final episode where they're introducing Kang the Conqueror was a little messy, and it was kind of frustrating to be like, this is like they're setting up other shit. Like, just tell your story. I'm so sick of like the burden of another story falling on a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
But overall,
I mean,
it was awesome.
The idea how Loki kind of like even the regular MCU Marvel stuff, kind of like without Loki, the whole MCU universe never could work because he was the one who like was like a pawn for Thanos.
Mhm.
He kind of like started everything when you think
He's
about it.
a very important piece.
Yeah. And then, even this phase 5 or 6, whatever it is, it seems like they're just doing the same recipe because, he found Kang, or Jonathan Majors, or just Kang the Conqueror. And kind of like started that because they killed Kang the Conqueror in season 1 and then releasing all the variants of Kang the Conqueror. And in season 2, they pretty much start right when Loki is running around in chaos and everyone has no idea who he is.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's hard for me to talk about the show because anything I will say will spoil it in a bad way for you. Like you will probably not want to watch it.
And I mean, we don't want to go too deep into it because we probably will talk in depth at the final episode. Like, let's try and time it for the finale.
Yeah, I think there's 2 more episodes. So
oh shit, I'm that far behind. Is it only 8 episodes or 10?
I think 6. Yeah, wait, Loki. Wait, Loki season 2 episode count. Don't even look at it because you'll probably like get ruined. Number episodes 4. Yeah, there's only 6. There's only 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm into that. I like that they're telling their story. They're not just dragging it out needlessly.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So what I can say is that basically it felt like they filmed season 1 and 2 like right after each other because everyone looks the same. Everyone feels the same. The show looks exactly like the same kind of like film 1960s, 1970 film grain. The sets are great. Everyone hits the marks. No one looks like they had to like warm up to being like Mobius is Owen Wilson.
Yep.
Like no, like
he's
like
still
Owen Wilson.
Mobius.
Yeah, honestly, in the whole Loki, other than Loki, Mobius, Owen Wilson's character is literally my favorite because he represents like that's how I would act. Like as a human being, like I can see myself in him.
Yeah.
The really cool character, I'm not really spoiling because he's right in season 1, is how do you say it? Ouroboros. So that is the masterful Ki-Hu Kwan from Everything All at Once or Shortstop in the Jones movie.
Or what's his name in the Goonies? Fuck.
Oh,
it doesn't matter. Ki-Hu Kwan is now a known name.
Yeah, so he's a known name, Oscar winner, supporting actor, which is fantastic. He's awesome. He's really good in this, and for me, unfortunately, I haven't watched everything all at once. Don't flame me. Don't come at me. I see that. I see your face. I know, Jillian. I still have to watch it, but I'm saving it as for the rainy day film. And honest to God, I like that motif because I saved the Budapest Hotel for when I was really sad, and it hit the right marks.
Sure.
Yeah. Honestly, you probably wish you were me right now who hasn't seen it yet.
I haven't watched that movie Stone, so that's like my next time. I'm going to take a bunch of mushrooms and watch.
Oh, got it. That might freak you out.
No, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, but he's a very key element in the movie or in the show. And he isn't like kind of like they didn't treat him like the Asian smart guy too much.
Okay.
He has a lot of cool and great one-liners that hits the marks really well. He's just like, we're all gonna die. It's like, but what do you mean by that? It's like, we're all going to die. And the guy's like, oh, it's like, how do you not understand that? So it's overall, it does a little bit. The show is not very different, but it is different to a point from Loki season 1 because of the fact that it's not. It doesn't really talk about Loki as much.
Okay,
you don't really explore his part because season 1 nobody kind of covers that. It's not like more, but it's kind of like they do more world building with TVA. With how all these variants and the time stream works. Mm-hmm. Everything's really good. There's more kind of like backstory to each character.
Okay.
So yeah, like I would say I'm really happy so far.
Cool.
But apparently the next 2 episodes, the creator says the best episodes they've ever made.
Okay.
So
I mean, I always take that with a grain of salt. Where it's like, oh, I'm supposed to promote this? Let me promote this hard.
So good.
Yeah. But he might be right.
Yeah. But the Jonathan Majors, I know that on all the unfortunate news and the trial that he's going in, he's so good in this.
So he's a big player in season 2, hey?
Yeah, he's still in it. Like a lot of promotion material shows him in the show. So
yeah, I know that they
spoiling too much.
They have ceased showing him as prominently in promotional stuff, but it's hard when you shot it a couple years ago before you knew like What are you gonna do? Reshoot everything or like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, here's the thing. If he actually did what he did, I hope he gets the full justice of the law thrown at him.
Mhm.
But if it is a situation where someone is trying to do false accusations, I hope he gets cleared. And because him as a professional actor, he is such a good
Very
actor
talented.
in this. Yeah. In Creed 3, fantastic.
Yeah.
In this, he's great. That stupid World War II movie he was in, even though I didn't like the story at all, but I think his acting was really great.
It was Korean War, wasn't it?
Yeah, Korean
airplane
War.
one?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry,
airplane one.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't watch it. No, Devotion. Yeah, just skip everything else.
He was
This-
good
it's
in
really
Lovecraft Country. Although that show was kind of mid.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't really watch that. But like I just hope everything in the trial didn't do what he did and he just gets found innocent. But if he actually did do it, I'm sorry, John Majors. You got to go to jail, buddy. But yeah,
I think that
he's
unless the person accusing him like records themselves being like, I made it all up, it's all bullshit. I think even if he's found innocent, his career is done. I don't think you can bounce back from something like this.
well, I mean, here's the thing is that this is why I think I said to one of our contacts who works as an agent for a lot of actors and stuff who they represent us too. And I was like, is this kind of true? And they kind of like, yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the kind of business is that if you're a male, you have a higher chance of bouncing back than being a female in this kind of situation. So if you're a female actress or
over.
actor, once this happens, you're done. You're basically enough. You'll never get bigger than where you are right now. And even maintaining that level is extremely hard.
Yeah.
A male guy could just like hide behind a little bit, like the John Goodman. Let's just say John Goodman, and he kind of bounced back and just become as big as ever. I mean, everyone loves him in Sully.
John Goodman, what did he do?
I think he domestic abuse.
I think though that was a different like. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
John
Goodman.
I think that it's one of those things too that's where if that kind of controversy happened 10, 20 years ago, it's a little bit easier for you to bounce back. But now I think if it came out now, I don't even think John Goodman could bounce back if it was like, he had beat his wife.
Yeah. It
So the
takes some
stuff
time.
I don't see anything that's real domestic. He was a really big alcoholic. And maybe they've just done a really good job sanitizing the image after. But I thought he was like a miserable alcoholic, but I don't remember hearing or seeing anything about being.
There was something bad that he did. I remember. But anyways, I might be wrong, but it feels like that's,
tell us, send us an email.
yeah,
Let us know.
yeah. Wingettes, drumettes, tell us, viewers tell us. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those unfortunate facts. But yeah, I just hope he bounces back. But anyways, Loki season 2, still
Worth a watch?
Definitely
Okay.
best MCU TV series you can watch.
Wow,
to
that's
date.
such a high bar.
I mean, I would say it's just as good as what's the Star Wars equivalent?
Andor.
Andor. Yeah. If you liked Andor, you'll like Loki season 1 and 2.
Sure. Okay, we're kind of running out of time, so you're gonna have to be a little quick. But what was your thoughts on Equalizer 3?
Okay, Equalizer 3, this is super easy. It shows off as like an action thriller movie. It's actually a horror psychological, like he's a psychopath horror, like terrible person from told in his perspective. Because you see how he kills people in the third one is so brutal that he actually kind of watches them die, which is it's a little sadistics that he like will shoot and kill and just kind of like talk to them as they die and going, oh, I told you, why did you do this? Why did you push me like this? And that kind of perspective. Because if you actually just took the picture and just tilted a little bit from their perspective, like, oh, this guy's just like comes out of shadows and murders. He's like literally Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Told from Mike Myers' perspective. It's like, oh, he's an unstoppable killer. He would just literally bulldoze everyone. He figures out really sadistic ways to kill people. They just die, and it's really scary. Like the last scene that he kills all the mafia people.
Yeah.
It is fucked up. Like he like kills them one by one, chops people's heads off, and literally force feeds drugs to this guy, and then lets him go because he knows in 6 minutes his heart's gonna stop.
Huh.
And he
Yeah,
just
it sounds
the person,
pretty fucking vicious and violent.
yeah,
and
vicious
awful,
and violent. Yeah. And he just like resigns. He's like, yeah, that's who I am. I will do these things for the greater good. But you actually think about it and you watch the first and second Equalizer. You're like, oh, yeah, this guy is fucked up. Like you should not be rooting for this guy. And it's really scary. And like, just the third one changed it. I will watch the first one and second one again. And I'm like, oh, this is a very different movie. And I watched this with my dad and I'm like, Dad, Denzel Washington is like a bad guy, right? And he's like, yep. And he loves Denzel Washington. He's like, I love every single movie he's in.
He's great.
He's great. But like this one, he's awesome too. But damn, he is a scary guy.
Okay, so Equalizer 3, good movie, scary protagonist who might
Just don't pay for it.
Yep.
Oh,
isn't it available on streaming now?
No, you can rent it. Wait until it's on Netflix and watch it.
Sure. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is your opinions or the revelation you had rewatching Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. Dead Reckoning. I think it's a pretty good movie. I remember giving it 8.5. Watching it again, 7.5.
Sure.
It doesn't really hold up, and I really did not like the villain. I don't like the entity too much. It's just like they kind of go, oh, it's an AI. Ooh,
yeah,
he does everything. Great. And I think the one thing that's missing in that movie is that they don't really talk about Gabriel too much. He just goes, he's from Ethan Hunt's past.
Yeah.
He killed someone that Ethan Hunt really likes, and he does it again in this movie.
Yeah.
And you have no attachments to him unless like the only thing that's like really cool about him is that he's like basing off the entity's kind of apostle.
Yeah.
I guess like, and they treat the entity like a god, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the actor did too good of a job playing Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, so like, I can do anything and I've only messed up at the end. But other than that, I'm perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the movie did have kind of shitty villains. Like they're threatening, but yeah, AI as the big bad. They might be able to bring it home. Like that's kind of what I'm holding out for is like maybe part 2 will wrap it in a way where I'm like, oh, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But it was always about, the impossible force and the way they come together and stuff. And I enjoy that part of it and the thrills, but it's not, I don't think it's hard to, when you rate it on like the universal scale of movies, it's hard to give Mission Impossible's super high ratings. I think on the action movie rating scale, you can give them really fucking great ratings because they're awesome, thrilling action movies. Yeah. But they're shallow and simple and they're just a good time.
Yeah, my dad was like going like, the reason why we watch it because my dad, I'm like, did you watch it? He's like, not yet. I'm like, okay, well, we'll watch it now.
Yeah.
And he like talked to me. He's like, so did he really crash a train on a bridge? I'm like, not on a bridge, but they really crashed the train. He's like, why? And I was like, yeah, why did you have to crash a train to make it look real for like the 10 seconds? Like, I don't know if you really needed to do that because it seems so excessive.
I think there's an argument both ways. I think you could be like, oh yeah, it's like, CG is pretty great. You can do it that way. But I think you wouldn't talk about the train scene like we're talking about it now. It's like, it would just be one of a trillion forgetful, not forgetful, but scenes you forget about, immemorable scenes where you're like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. But now you're like, damn, man, that train really went off and really crashed down there. That's pretty cool.
I might just see my dad though. He's just like, it's like, I don't think you needed to do that. And I'm like, that's fair. I get it, but also it's like, yeah.
No, I think like you could make that argument with a lot of like practical effects and stuff that you don't need to do.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that it was done is what I find appealing. And it's like theater. It's like, it's the fact that I'm seeing something real is more appealing than something that a computer can put together for me.
Yeah, that's true. I think the most impressive stunt was him doing the cliff diving.
Oh, sure.
That was like the coolest stunt.
Yeah.
And the fight
Easy.
scenes is probably like the best fight scenes in a Mission Impossible. It looked really good, except for dang it, what's her name that died? Oh,
Paris or something?
No, not Paris.
Rebecca Ferguson.
That character. That fight was kind of lame. I watch it again.
When she dies?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Like,
spoilers.
Oh, no. I know we already talked about it. It's fine. But I watched that again. I was like, I like the Tom Cruise fight 10 times more. This one was like them just kind of like fighting with swords and whatnot.
Yeah, it was okay. The one where Tom Cruise is in the alley, in like the tight little alley, that was a way cooler fight.
That felt more thrilling because he's like, they raised the stakes that he's fighting two people, small alley, and he has to get out of there to save that character.
I really like that fight too.
Yep.
Okay, that's gonna be it for the episode. We're going a little bit long for what we're trying to do. So if you guys want to reach out to us at Gmail. Let's wing it 22@gmail.com or on X, formerly known as Twitter. Jono Tan 86 or The Chosen David or Let's Wing It Pod. Any of those, or you can support us directly if you like this content at patreon.com/Let's Wing It.
Yeah, and also the Dropmats who's listening right now, I will do the call out next week with all the names. But go in the latest posts and type your question answers because I miss doing those. I miss
those are fun
questions. Those are really good.
Yeah.
Granted, I think those one question they asked was like, "Are we gonna watch The Creator?" And I think we are still planning to, but I think it's gone too long, so we're just gonna wait until it's streaming.
Wait till it's on streaming. I have a list of about 40 movies from 2023 that I want to watch, and I've got to start doing that. But instead, I'm going to not
play Spider-Man. You're play
No,
Spider-Man
I'm done Spider-Man. I'm gonna probably work or maybe allow myself some Baldur's Gate, but we'll see.
Hey, but anyways, this is done. Bye.
Bye.